What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? It's your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network channel, giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. Shy, Kelvin, Jermaine, KB Film Room, Big Dog, Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. For everyone who's tuning in, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel, help make this show the best that it can be. I just want to start off and say, I really enjoy these NBA playoffs. Real competition, man. And I'm telling you, when you see real competition, you know it, man. It's like you react to it a certain way. You know what I'm saying? The NBA has a lot of promise, man. They just have to move on beyond this malaise, dog. That's it. That's it, man. Like I say, the cream gonna rise to the top. All this talk about who the face of the NBA was, they weren't saying that back in the day like that. It was about who was gonna win. And whoever won and became the champion for that particular year, they got to shine and they was recognized as the best player in the league and everything that came with that. And I think they're trying to manufacture too much stature in the league, man. This debate about who's this. And what gets lost is the game. And I'm telling you, man, they gonna mess around. They are standing in the way. The nays and the says, they are standing in the way. They need to get out the way and just cover the game. But I want to give kudos to the Oklahoma City Thunder, man, who advanced to the NBA Finals by defeating the Minnesota Timberwolves yesterday. They won the series in 5 games, and Minnesota had a good playoff run, man. Reaching the conference finals, and they have a future too. And I see these teams, man. I go back to 2018. I can't help it. I can't. It's not that I'm trying to do it, but I just remember, man. Remember OKC when Chris Paul played that 1 year after he was traded. He was traded down there to OKC, and he led them to the postseason that year, which was in the bubble, but nonetheless, people were so shocked that he played so good down there and led that team to the postseason. Many people were saying, man, he was like runner-up. He should be considered runner-up to MVP, only behind Giannis Antetokounmpo. I was shocked, man. I was really, I really gave kudos to Chris Paul that year, man, because nobody saw that coming. But it's just amazing what can happen, man, when a veteran player is willing to lead young talent, man, and anchor them. You know what I'm saying? Really, trying to take over, have ulterior motives, man. And I was just stunned, man. But I remember back in 2021 and 2022, Oklahoma City had moved on from all their star players, and the front office of Sam Presti, the GM down there, he was starting over because he saw the need to start over. See, he saw the need. And see, a lot of times, man, right, when you start over, a lot of times, man, fans may get frustrated, like, oh, man, we at the bottom. But you have to look at it. You have to look at it like this. Okay, Oklahoma City, they last went to the finals, and their last finals appearance was in 2012 with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Thabo Sefolosha, Nick Collison, Derek Fisher was on the team that year, D-Fish from the Los Angeles Lakers. He was traded there mid-season. And they had a hell of a team, man. They had a hell of a team. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Kendrick Perkins was on that team too. But for 3-4 years ago, Oklahoma City was at the bottom of the Western Conference. They was winning like 22 games, 24 games. And they was laughing at Sam Presti, man. The talking heads was like, oh, man, what are you doing, man? Grabbing all these draft picks. You can't you can't play draft picks in a jersey and play them. I said, well, that's why he getting the draft picks so he can draft players to play in the jersey. It's the reason why he doing it. He wasn't just doing it just because, for show. He had a vision in mind. And fast forward 3 years later, 4 years later, ain't nobody laughing at OKC no more, man. Ain't nobody laughing at the Timberwolves. Timberwolves, man, they got outmatched. When they had a chance to tie their series at 2 apiece and they lost that game 4 at home, you pretty much knew that was it. But, like I said, what I love about this playoff, man, is like you know who's who. You know where you stand. You know where your team stands, man. Instead of trying to hype your team up every year and it fizzles out quick. And I think what the NBA is having problems with the people that's covering the league, man, they don't want to acknowledge these young squads, dog. They don't want to acknowledge them, dog. Nor do they want to acknowledge small market teams. But like I've been saying, man, I'm part of this great crew behind the bench, man, and we talk basketball all the time behind the scenes, man. And this has been brewing for some years, dog. And everybody know I'm a Lakers fan, man. But it's kind of like I love to see what OKC doing, man. But at the same time, man, it's like I know that could have been this, and I'm finna show you proof. I'm finna show proof. I'm finna give information. Now, mind you, OKC in 2021 they won something like 22 games. And they had a young Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's the league MVP this year. Kudos to Shai, man. Like I said, man, I ain't got no. I love what they doing, man, because it just shows me that my squad, we was ahead of the curve. We just didn't realize it. And that's why I say the Lakers' original young core, man, they were the sacrificial lambs. See, they had to be sacrificed to show. How can I put this, man? They had to take the hit to show their young talent was not expendable. You see what I'm saying? They had to take the hit because, the league's been operating under this. It's been negatively influenced by this player empowerment nonsense, man. They be leaving organizations astray, thinking, "Oh man, we got to do this. We got to throw the chips in." And my question is, why do you have to throw all your chips in? Why? Give me a legitimate reason why. Because it don't guarantee anything. And if you do win something, it's not going to really stand the test of time. It's very fleeting. I just don't think, like them fans down there at OKC, man, they can sit there and say, you know what, we supported this team when they were down, and we saw our players grow together, develop together, get their chemistry down, take them disappointments like they did last year when they lost to Dallas in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? They took that, man. They didn't make no overhaul. They made some key changes, but you notice they signed Isaiah Hartenstein from the Knicks to bolster their front court, and they traded Josh Giddey, who was having an off-court issue, for Alex Caruso. They did not sacrifice their future when they did that. So, when it comes to my squad, like I said, OKC won 22 games, and I believe that was 2021, and then 24 games 2022. Well, the young core Lakers took a bigger jump over the 2-year period. This was doing prime Golden State with prime KD. And then you had prime James Harden and Chris Paul down there in Houston, who boasted the league's best record that year, 65-17. You still had Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, Patty Mills, and the like in San Antonio. Then you had Jokic and Jamal Murray, who was just starting out, and Will Barton down there, Gary Harris in Denver, Paul Millsap. They became playoff team. Portland was a playoff team with prime Damian Lillard, prime C.J. McCollum. The Clippers was a playoff level team. Utah had Donovan Mitchell, Spider-Man Mitchell, and Rudy Gobert. You see what I'm getting at? And the Lakers' young core was improving at a faster rate starting out than the OKC Thunder. And if anybody think I'm, trying to pull their leg, go to basketballreference.com and then look at the 2016-2017 Lakers and the 2017-2018 Lakers versus the OKC Thunder of 21-22. And you'll see what I'm talking about. So before all this started, the year before, they brought the hurricane, opened the door for him to come in and blow off the hinges. They had the 10th ranked defense the majority of the season. They had the second best rebounding team in the NBA, which I just found that out last year. I couldn't figure out. I was like, how they had the second best rebounding team? I said, okay, we got Randall. He was getting you 10 boards a game. Ingram was getting you a little over 5. Josh Hart, in his rookie year, he's the master of the tough rebound. Lonzo was giving you about 7.5 rebounds a game during his rookie year. Then Zubac was giving you rebounds. I was like, damn, I didn't even realize it. Guess what? They had the second fastest paced team in the NBA, generated by rookie Lonzo Ball, whose assist to turnover ratio was exceptional for a rookie. And then you had the third highest scoring bench in the NBA, averaging 50 points a game. And to tell you the truth, at one point, it's probably the top scoring bench. So I'm looking at it like, okay, OKC, they basically built this thing up. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander after his rookie year. That's the equivalent of a free agent, a star free agent. It's the equivalent of that, the way he's progressing his career. And then you got they just start drafting people, man, and it happened so fast. The down seasons, they are distant memory. So when we were down, you see what I'm saying? When we were down, but we was fast improving the first 2 years or beyond what OKC did. So there's no way in the world that we would not have improved at that same rate that OKC is doing. There's no way. We were so far ahead of the curve. And like I said, it was going to keep OKC rolling for the next decade. They kept all these draft picks. That's the key to it. So with this new CBA and the fact that it may be difficult to maintain everybody at a certain point in their career, because I think they said OKC doesn't have to worry about extending anybody outside of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander until the 26-27 season. That's 2 years down the road. So they good. The Lakers was in the same situation. They had extended Jordan Clarkson going into the 2016-2017 season. He was locked in. Randall was up for his extension 2018. We all know what happened to him. Everybody else was playing under their rookie deal up until like 2021. They wouldn't have to worry about trying to extend nobody until then. By that time, they would have came of age. And your salary cap is manageable. And you still got your draft picks. So what I'm trying to say, people, when I see OKC, I'm literally looking at what the Lakers would have been, could have been, should have been. But when you go down this road, you all your children on the table, man, you think that you ahead of the competition, but you're not, because the back end, that's when it's gonna get ugly. And the only true assets that the Lakers have on their roster right now is not the Hurricane. It's not even Luka. Austin Reeves, who they picked up as an undrafted player and scouted him, who's playing above his value, and rookie Dalton Knecht, who's already been traded one time, and they rescinded the trade because of medical report. Otherwise, Dalton Knecht would have been gone. And to facilitate that trade, the Lakers was led to be willing to give up a draft pick 6 years down the road, going into the 2030s. to try to keep up with the rest of the league. So imagine if the league say a team couldn't do that, the Lakers would be done. And that's what I'm saying, man. You can't carve out an entire roster of young talent. You're not gonna thrive. I don't care. And to show you proof of that, the Lakers had 3 superstars on their team 3 years ago, 4 years ago. The Hurricane, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook. And then you had Carmelo Anthony. And then you had Dwight Howard, right? You had 5 top 75 players. Then you brought back players who was part of the 2020 season, the so-called magical 2020 season. You see what I'm saying? And they won 33 games, 2 games less than the young core of 2018. That lets you know how backwards this organization been led to run and operate. So that 52-win season that fans be trying to uphold during 2020, that's at the expense of what you should have had. That's why everything's deteriorating so fast. So when you got a real championship run out there, man, you ain't finna fall off like that where you got to rely on trades to keep your not just your team going, but your organization going. But all you're doing is born against what you're supposed to have down the road. OKC not going to have that problem. They're not going to have that problem. So, to make a long story short, Magic Johnson, consensus greatest point guard ever. He's often considered a Mount Rushmore player. He didn't take Oklahoma City seriously, over these past 2 years, but recently he made a comment saying he apologized to Oklahoma City. See, now he's starting to see it don't take long for young players to develop and emerge. Because once it starts happening, man, it's there. You see what I'm saying? So the first 2 years, OKC, it looked like, oh man, they ain't finna do nothing. But next thing you know, they're here in your grill. You know what I'm saying? And we would have been doing the same thing. And like I said, we was further along the first 2 years. So what I'm saying is, they would have stayed the course. I'm finna show you proof. Here we go, right here. And like I said, man, this ain't about Oakland. I love what they doing. 2 members of the original young core of the Lakers have led the team to the playoffs. Julius Randle did it in New York. Where he didn't have no Towns on his team, had no Brunson on his team, he had no OJ Anunoby on his team, or McCall Bridge on his team. He had a young Mitchell Robinson and I think a rookie at the time, R.J. Barrett. That's it. And he led them to the playoffs. Brandon Ingram led the New Orleans Pelicans to the playoffs twice since he had been traded down there without the franchise player available. So if the franchise player had been available, the Pelicans could have made a good run for themselves and been a solid franchise. So what I'm saying is, man, 2 members of the young core has led a team that's not even their own to the playoffs. Think about that. So you combine that together right there, you got another level that you can go to between them 2 players. And then you got a 6-man-of-the-year player produced out of that drafting phase in Jordan Clarkson, the only original Laker to win the 6-man. Nobody on OKC is up for a 6-man-of-the-year. And like I said, man, I love what they doing. Then you got a rebounding menace in Josh Hart that's 6'4", giving you damn near 10 rebounds a game. Best rebounder percentage-wise, pound for pound in the history of this association. That's his value as a player. Zubac. What can we say about Zubac? Zubac is the number 1 interior defender in the whole league. Even greater than Chet Holmgren, and Chet Holmgren is balling. So what I'm saying, man, I'm looking at it, man. I'm looking at it like he was number 1 rim protector in the league last year, percentage-wise. And then when the Clippers started really involving him in the offense after the All-Star break, he was dropping 20 per second team all defense for a player who was undervalued 6 years ago. Imagine if Zubac had been developed the whole time, man. This is what I'm saying. So the original young core of the Lakers had to be they had to take the hit to show how important young talent is in player development. Oklahoma City has applied that strategy, and they passing with flying colors, man. And it's not gonna stop. This is just the beginning. And to show you that they know that they got it, when they clinched the Western Conference yesterday, they was barely celebrating. Think about that. They was barely celebrating, man. They know they got it. That would have been the Lakers, man. And like I said, it's a bevy of young teams, man, in the whole league. Indiana Pacers, man, they could go to the finals this year. They built their thing up over the past 3 years. Boom, where they are. Orlando Magic. Realistically, Orlando probably would have went to the second round this year, but their record is not a true indication of who they are because their two best players, Fritz Wagner and Pablo Pichero, got hurt and missed significant time. You know, Houston Rockets, number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Let's just think about this, people. The Houston Rockets, who wasn't even in the playoffs last year, they clinched the number 2 seed in the West. Now, they lost in 7 games, but it took Golden State 7 games and all that experience to pull that series off. So, when I'm in Minnesota, 2 years in a row in the conference finals, it's not going to get any easier. Memphis, if Ja Morant returned back to his previous form in the past 3 years, if you return back to that form, man, I'm telling you, Memphis be right there too. Then you got Dallas, man. Dallas. Shocked the world with the number 1 pick. Now, I ain't going to say how they got it, but they got it. The word is they may be trying to get Lonzo Ball down there. He would be the perfect point guard down there, man, because he going to get the ball to where it needs to go. He ain't going to take no shots away from nobody. That's his gift as a basketball player, getting the ball where it needs to go. The hockey assists point guard. He ain't gonna stagnate the offense, dog. And his assist to turnover ratio is off the chart. So what I'm saying, people, is, man, OKC is in 2025 is what the Lakers would have been by 2021. I know it. I got all the metrics to prove it. The Lakers could have been stockpiling so much talent, man. They could have, just like OKC, it could have got to the point where you damn near got your bench, everybody coming off your bench averaging at least 8 a game. That's 40 points right there. That's just on the low end. And then you got free agents that you could bring. See what I'm saying, man? What I'm trying to say is this, man. Their player empowerment, they may well stick a fork in that. That's done. What has player empowerment got teams? Realistically, when you think about it, nothing. It's been a lot of talking hype, man. And see what's happening now is when you know that an era of players has taken over, like for the second year in a row, a lot of these teams that had veterans leading them, you know, they getting beat by the young squad. They getting beat by the young stars. The transitions it's here, but they trying to hold on, man. They try these talking heads because they don't want to relinquish their influence. They don't want to relinquish these narratives. But when these real teams taking over, they ain't gonna have no choice but to do it, man. They can't be coming out there with that cat and bird stuff, dog. They can forget that. It's real now, man. I love it, man. And I think it's gonna be so much of a positive that, you know, they ain't gonna need no in-season tournament, man. They need to eliminate that thing. Now the play-in, I've kind of grown with the play-in. I can kind of roll with it. But that in-season tournament, nah, man. And then bring back the authenticity of the All-Star game. I just see so many positives, dog. I really do. But yeah, man, I just want to drop that nugget, man. Kudos to Oklahoma City Thunder. Kudos to all these teams that's in the playoffs, man. They're still in the playoffs, man. I mean, I love it, man. I love it because it's justifying everything I've been believing. Everything. But when you sell yourself short, when you lack patience, when you're led to try to take a shortcut, then you bring the hurricane to the mix. Oh, man, that's total combustion right there. That's not a win-win. That's a lose-lose. So I want to drop that nugget. Please leave your comments and thoughts. And until next time, people, this is JB for BTB. And the name of the show is called Behind the Bench.